Today we're diving into the most essential skill every filmmaker, content creator, and communicator must master. Back in school, the only class I truly loved was English. I often wrote sequels or prequels to my favourite films, Jurassic Park being one of them. I also wrote the first chapter of a manga, which is a Japanese-style comic book for those of you that don't know. It was during those school days that I began making videos with my best mate. We were heavily inspired by South Park. My parents, understandably skeptical about my future in filmmaking, encouraged me to pursue a career in sales. As an introvert, I felt very out of place. Ironically though, I discovered that sales was just actually another form of storytelling. I went on to have a very successful career for 12 years. My wife and I had just got married, bought our family home, and we were soon to expect the arrival of our daughter. But then I was made redundant. I then had to tell my wife that I couldn't provide for us anymore. I felt hopeless and lost. The truth is, I hated the corporate world, the politics, and all the bullshit that came with it. So I did the most risky and borderline stupid thing I could have done. I cancelled all the interviews, and I went headfirst into filmmaking full time. With only 6 months of savings, I had no other choice but to make it work. I'm fortunate to say it did work out. I made 100k as a solo filmmaker last year, and now I'm here to help other video creators go full time too. So, how do we tell compelling stories? In this video, we'll explore the step-by-step process focusing on short form storytelling. With short form videos, I found that there are two main story structures that work best. The first one is Freytag's pyramid. The structure is perfect for brand awareness. It often gets the most reach as the story is usually widely relatable and doesn't necessarily start with a niche specific hook. Let's go through the story beats and I'll provide some examples. The hook, you could say something like, I just turned 30 when I received an email that changed my life. Then the exposition, which is the introduction. It's good if you tie this to something that you solve or your business solves. So you could say, the thing is, I was stuck in a corporate job I hated. My real passion had always been creating videos, but I didn't go to university and my parents told me that it wasn't a career worth following. Then the rising action, which is things that I've done to try and fix the problem. I could say, I tried to keep my passion for video alive during my spare time. I took freelancing jobs here and there, but they didn't pay much and they were hard to come by. And the climax was basically the turning point where things changed for me. But then that email landed in my inbox. See ya, buddy. You're made redundant. I remember feeling a mixture of embarrassment and anger. After processing the news and realizing my wife and I only had 6 months worth of savings, I decided to do something crazy and went all in making videos full time. Then the falling action is basically the positive things that happened because of the climax. Because of this, I was forced to think outside the box. I worked like a man fighting for his life. Within 6 months, I replaced my income and cancelled all the interviews I booked. And now the resolution. Where am I now? Now I'm a full-time video creator and I've made it my mission to help other people just like me do the same without having to go to film school or be made redundant. And then the call to action could be like, comment, learn to join the waitlist. The second story structure, I don't think has a name, so I made one up. I call it the value structure. This is for videos that are more educational and give actionable tips or advice. Usually they are niche specific and are good for building authority by showcasing your expertise. This is from one of my videos on Instagram that at the time of recording has 300,000 views. The hook was, which is niche specific, in 2025, more of us than ever want our own video content. So I'm going to show you how to film alone. So the intro should be the problem that you faced and how you solved it. This was one of my biggest struggles when I first started filmmaking. At the time, I lived by myself and didn't have anyone nearby that shared my passion for it. It's especially tough when you want to get better behind the camera, but you're also the one in front of it. And then you want to provide 3 pieces of value where you solve that problem. When I first started, I thought I had to be moving the camera for the shot to be interesting. Now I know that's just not the case. Utilizing composition, angles, focus, and focal length, you can make static shots look dynamic too. 2. Mounted shots. Mounting your camera on a door, a car, or even yourself can create interesting angles and perspectives without needing someone to hold the camera. 3. POV shots. This gives the audience a unique perspective and is a source of endless creativity. Then it wraps up with a call to action. So, what's stopping you now? Have fun with it. The reason this video performed so well was because storytelling kept the viewers engaged. It was also the start of the new year, so the content felt fresh with the 2025 hook. The hook also addressed a very common desire of people wanting more video content. Then it played into a specific pain point of filming alone, which is relatable to many who make videos. On top of that, there were practical value points people could implement, not vague advice. The video also provided proof the advice works, as I filmed it by myself using the techniques that I talked about. So, how do you come up with your own stories? First, you need to find out what the purpose and message of the video you're creating is. Before writing any story, the first question you must ask is, why am I making this? Understanding the underlying purpose of the video is essential. It could be for general brand awareness, to gain followers or build an audience, to promote a product or service, generate leads, show credibility, and so on. When working with clients, they often have no clear idea of what they want. They might request a video simply because they feel they need one without really understanding why. As the expert, it's your job to help them identify the purpose of the video by guiding them through the discovery process. To increase your chances of success, market research is essential. This way you can find out which videos are performing well within a particular niche on the platforms that you or the client intend for the video to be distributed on. Best way I've found to do this is by simply following the most influential social media accounts in that field and looking at their content to see which have the most views and engagement. I then dissect the video to understand why it performed well. I try to find between 5 and 10 of these and then decide on which concept I want to go for. Please do not copy videos exactly. People who do this are just lazy opportunists. We are passionate creatives. When coming up with your own idea, it's important to answer the one question that will drive every creative decision you'll make. How do you want the audience to feel? Also consider what resources you have available and what is reasonably achievable. If creating for social media, now would also be a good time to start thinking about some hook-worthy titles. The next thing you want to do is set clear goals. What does success look like with this video? Would success be gaining more followers than any other video you've made? Or if you were making a video for a company, would it be how many leads they generate off the back of the video? In order to reiterate and improve, it's a good idea to have something to measure. As videographers and content creators, we don't often have the luxury of creating whatever videos we want unless it's for our personal brand, especially when we first start out. But storytelling should still apply to the videos we make for our clients, especially if we want them to be good. By implementing the basics of an intro, rise in action, climax, falling action, and resolution, you can make a story about almost anything. Take weddings as an example. The intro establishes the location, the characters, and the scenario, what's going on. The rising action is where anticipation is built for the ceremony, getting ready in the morning, and guests arriving. The climax is when the bride and groom exchange their first kiss. Then the falling action is the speeches and dancing and the party. The resolution is when they walk hand in hand off into the sunset. This is just a vague example as there are no strict rules here, but having a story structure makes all the difference. If there are shots jumping around all over the place from different location at different time, it's not as enjoyable to watch and doesn't allow you as a filmmaker to effectively build towards an emotional response. That's how I know if my wedding videos are good. I get my wife to watch them, and if she cries, I know it's a good video. When I first started filmmaking, I filmed a lot of real estate, and even when there's no character in the video, you can still tell a story and evoke an emotion that will encourage people to take action. In this case, it would be to contact the estate agent and view the house. I think about that when I'm filming and editing those videos. I want people to see themselves living there and imagine they are taking a tour by themselves. The shots are placed in order that would make sense if they were to view in real life. In a big modern house, I had upbeat music to get people excited about what it would feel like to entertain there and host there. If the property was a quaint country house, then the approach to the video would be slower paced and peaceful, reflecting the type of house and customer who would be interested in buying it. I usually then place the best shot of the house or a particular transition between wow factor shots as the climax and use speed ramps corresponding to the climax of the music I've chosen. You may have already noticed that music tracks follow a similar storytelling pattern. I use this to complement the sequence of shots that I choose. So now you know how to tell a story with pretty much any video and also how to start creating story ideas for yourself. I look forward to seeing you guys putting this into practice and improving with your videos. Have fun with it, and if you have any questions, you can ask.